I was in the San Francisco library, combing through microfilm of newspapers from 1925. I needed information on the one story Ruby doesn't talk about. I found the article and the location: the Strand Theater on Market Street. I walked over to this historical beast and stood in front, looking at the closed theater with plywood nailed over the doors. The marquee is still there, but a string of white lights that surrounded the sign now dangles in the wind. The building is peeling dark red paint, ruby red. It was afternoon, and the fog was beginning to crest over Twin Peaks. Suddenly, I felt a chill. I knew she was standing next to me. Ruby's spirit had returned, and she looked at me sternly. "What are you doing here? I've never come back to this theater. The company that owned it, the New York Amusement Company. Well, I don't want you near this building." Newspaper articles on January 12, 1925, tell the story of a night that started with laughter and ended with pain. Ruby Adams stood in the wings of the Strand Theater on Market Street, waiting for her cue to sing upon the stage. She was just 29 years old. The year started off well for Will King's company. They were on a high, having just received spectacular reviews in Seattle for a comedy called Friend Wife. January 10th was the opening night in San Francisco. The crowd gathered to enter the theater, seeking a night of laughter. Joan Singer began her duet, "Please Be Good to My Old Pal." Ruby was to appear on stage and join her. The moment before Ruby stepped onto the stage, she glanced in a mirror and bent over to tie her dance slipper. The chorus master heard a noise that sounded like waves crashing, coming from above. The rope, which was used to anchor the sandbags and hoist the stage curtain and stage screens, was breaking. A sandbag fell, crushing Ruby at the small of her back and taking her to the floor. She laid there, blood staining her costume. Joan finished the duet alone. Stagehands hurried to Ruby's side and in a Herculean effort dragged the 300-pound sandbag from her dainty frame. Ruby looked at the stagehands and whispered, "Thank you. Don't disappoint. Go on." Through their tears, the cast returned to the stage to sing their final number, tears staining their young, naive faces. Ruby was rushed to the St. Francis Hospital, just blocks away from the theater, and doctors did the best they could. Friend Wife played only one more night before closing. The lights went out on January 13th. The jokes were no longer funny, and the cast could no longer find joy in the musical comedy. That night, her spine was broken in 3 places, and several of her ribs were shattered. Ruby survived, but never walked again.